After a long day at work, I went to explore what my city has to offer, and I end up at the local park for a casual stroll during the evening. The park is mostly deserted. I see a couple of people walking their dogs. I sit down on a bench and enjoy the crickets chirping in the background. The night sky is clear and I can see the stars. Business has been going fine so far. It's hard work, but I think I finally settled on a pace that I like. Nothing has really disturbed me from my work, even though sometimes my thoughts wander off to my memories of a certain purple-haired boy. Ever since that day in the coffee shop, I keep thinking of NIEL when he was little. The memory has always held a special place in my heart, even though nothing extraordinary happened back then. I thought you totally forgot about it, though. He was a lost, scared little boy that I helped out. I just never realized he thought I was a boy as well. Regardless, mixing up my gender shouldn't have NIEL freaking out so much. But I can't pinpoint exactly what it is that he got NIEL in such a tizzy. Not that I can really do anything about it, because I haven't really spoken to him since. I've seen him a couple of times in passing, usually near the hospital. He might work there, but I'm not sure. Nevertheless, each time I see him, he's either not noticed me or pretends not to notice me. I'm annoyed by it either way. I figured we could be friends after finding out we had met each other in our childhood, but I guess I was wrong. Suddenly, I hear someone approaching me in the dead of night, and I stare into the distance to figure out who it is. It's you again! What the hell? Like, dude, are you following me? Is that it? Not a second later, I see NIEL emerge from the darkness, his head hanging low, looking at the ground. He doesn't even notice me. He's too engrossed into whatever he's doing. He seems like he's looking around for something, because he's checking every spot on the trail, and then sighing when there's nothing there. He stops at the trash can and looks around the ground over there, crouching down to get a better view. I chew on my lip, deciding whether to out or not to call him out to him. Then, of course, I remember the last time we spoke, he wasn't very welcoming back then. In fact, he wanted me to stop talking to him, so should I even bother? I watch him for a few silent seconds, deciding whether or not to approach him. Well, it doesn't hurt to call out. Are you looking for something? I said out loud. NIEL suddenly jumps back at his feet and practically looks around and sees where's the noise coming from. When his eyes finally land on me, he quickly composes himself and then twists his face into a skull. Why? Why? What am I doing to you? This is none of your business, he says. I glare at him in response. I was only asking a simple question. He didn't need to be so rude about it. It's obvious he's looking for something. Why'd he reply like that to me? I have no idea. NIEL proceeds to look around, like I'm not even there, and the idea of a quiet evening at the park is suddenly sullied. Are you sure you didn't lose anything? I asked this time. There's some irritation in my voice. Are you always this nosy? NIEL huffs at me. He dusts off his pants. Fine. If you must know so badly, I lost a watch of mine. Want me to help look for it? I offer. NIEL backs off and shakes his head. He looks insulted. What the hell? I don't need your help. I know he was gonna do the I don't need your help shit. He turns around, mumbling, forget it, before he returns to searching the area. He continues to look around, ignoring me. I'm quite stumped. Did I say something wrong? NIEL is so hard to approach, and I still have no idea what he's even thinking. I guess having met each other when we were kids doesn't mean we get to be friends when we're adults. The thought leaves me a little sad. I try my best to ignore NIEL, but I starting to feel unwelcome here. What's with the way that he's deliberately not looking at me and searching my general area? I decide to leave. No point in staying when I can't enjoy the peace and quiet of the night with someone rustling behind me. So I get up from my wooden bench, dust off my clothes, and start to leave. I'm walking at a faster pace because I really don't like how I can feel NIEL's eyes burning a hole in my back. That's also when I hear this piercing sound of shattering glass. Did I step on the watch? I look down at my feet. It seems the heel of my shoe has been driven into the glass of a silver watch. My mouth slowly shapes into an... Oh. I think I found your watch, I say nervously. I take a small step sideways and pick up the broken and expensive-looking watch. There's a huge crack in the glass. I grimace at it. I think you may be doing this on purpose, says NIEL as he's gotten caught up to me. Well, I definitely didn't do it on purpose, but I'm sure NIEL will think whatever he wants to think. He snatches a watch out of my hand and inspects it, his eyes studying the broken glass. I cringe in anticipation of what he's going to say. I require you to pay for a replacement as soon as possible. I want to protest, but know I have no leg to stand on. I sheepishly nod my head. How much was it? Around 6,000 yen. It's like $600. What? I don't have that kind of money to spend, I shriek out. That's way too much. Actually, you kind of do. You should have thought about that before you here punctured my watch, he said coolly. Oh my god, this boy. It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose. You shouldn't have lost it in the first place. I snapped back. Oh, you want to pin the blame on me on your mistake? I guess you spilling coffee on me over the other day was also my fault. Hey, I tried to offer to pay up for your dry cleaning back then, and you declined. That's because you absolutely ruined it. There was no saving it. There definitely was, I fired back childishly. Just because you're ignorant about the way liquids interact with fabric doesn't mean it was a lost cause. Oh! NIEL definitely didn't like being called ignorant on top of breaking his watch as well. It was written all over his face. He was scolding by now. Being the owner of some petite little boutique doesn't make you the expert of all things fabric. I can feel myself start to turn a little red. I'll have you know, I know tons of things about fabrics that would never even cross your mind. Just because you're rich and pay for everything without a second thought doesn't mean everyone else does the same thing. Some of us know what we're buying and why. The atmosphere is getting tense between us, but I can help myself. If he insults me, of course I'm going to defend myself. I'll contact you up again regarding the watch. And I hope by then you've learned to be more civilized. F you. He gives me a pointed glare and then leaves the park. He dares to speak about being civilized? The guy who's been nothing but a rude since the beginning has the nerve to talk about manners. Fine. He can come look me up about the watch, but I'm not paying him. Oh my god. Do I have enough to keep going? I do! Let's keep going. It's been a few days since my last encounter with NIEL at the park, and I've all but put the memories of it behind me, secretly hoping he'll just forget about it. I've been quite busy with my store. There's been a new shipment of fabric, and I'm excited at all the colors and textures I have available at my fingertips. I lay them out on the counter, wondering what I should create with them. The bell rings and I look up at the door. I stop dead in my tracks when I see it's NIEL again. Oh no, he's come for his watch, hasn't he? Just when I put him out of my mind, he's here to remind me again of what transpired. NIEL looks around the store a little bit before his gaze settles on me. Good day, Meli. I hope you're in a better mood since the last time we've met. Fuck you. NIEL! That depends on whether or not I'm going to like what you say, I say chilly. NIEL clicks his tongue at me and then leans his elbow onto the counter, clasping his hands together and resting his chin on top of them. Oh my god, I don't even imagine what position he's in. He looks over at me, stunning me with his eyes. I suddenly feel a little defenseless. Let's talk about my watch. I swallow, knowing this was coming. Luckily, I'm not daft enough to forget to insure some of the expensive item, especially one with sentimental value, so I've contacted my insurance company and will get the full amount reimbursed. I look at him blankly. Okay, that's it? He got the money back? Well, that's definitely a load off my back. That doesn't mean you're absolved of any responsibility, NIEL says in a much more serious tone. He casts his eyes down to the counter, and his fingers hover over my new fabric. He seems a bit intrigued. You did still break a personal item of mine. And pray tell, what would you like me to do about that? You already had the money refunded. There's nothing else much I can do. Unless you want to say you somehow managed to cut your finger on the broken piece of glass and want to be reimbursed for that too. NIEL frowns at me and then shakes his head, clicking his tongue dismissively at me again. What's with... He's just clicking his tongue. I'm not sure if such a tiny piece of glass could even pose a threat to me, but I'm glad you're concerned about my well-being. That's a step above yesterday's attitude. Fuck you. I like this guy. He's just not... You didn't have to be mean about it. You didn't have to be mean about it, I tell him. You want me to praise you for destroying my watch, he says dully. Should I have complimented you instead, and that you somehow magically knew the exact spot to drive the 3-inch heels of yours through the center of the glass? Because consider it done, you did a fine job at wrecking my watch. This guy and his attitude! I cringe. He does a fine job of making me feel small and insignificant. Like everything I do is wrong. His words cut like a sword. I feel like I can't compete and talk back. What do you want? I finally ask him. Neil straightens his back. Last time you mentioned that you'd make me a dress shirt, correct? Don't answer that. It seems an opportunity presented itself, and while I do have my own tailor who has delivered some of the best works in the country, perhaps I can make use of your... He looks down to the fabric on the counter. Skills. I can feel his words sting like venom. He's mocking me, looking down on me. And what exactly do you want? I ask, ready to decline his offer. I will a tailored blazer, Neil says as he puffs up his chest to make a point. If it's adequate and to my taste, I could forgive your previous actions. I want to decline so badly. I do not much care for Neil's pompous attitude and the way he subtly is mocking my tailoring skills. However, I also realize I've destroyed any expensive watch of his. I have destroyed an expensive watch of his, and a mere sorry won't do. Plus, it seems he won't leave me alone, so I sigh and hang my head down. Alright, I say. Splendid! The sooner you finish this, the sooner you can return to... He points at the mannequin standing next to the counter. This. Neil shakes his head a little. What's this doing over here anyway? You would create a much bigger impression if... Suddenly, Neil grabs the mannequin and moves it away from the counter. Hey! Don't just move things around in my store! Neil drops it at a place near the entrance where the sunlight hits it. See? The way the light falls from the windows of the door would make this a perfect spot to highlight your latest fashion. Your latest fashion. No one asked you to start touching and moving my mannequins around. Put it back. I look over to where Neil is and I suddenly see his point. Placing the mannequin into a direct sunlight gives it a bigger impression and makes the layout of the store more harmonious as well. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Neil grins at me. Are you sure you want me to put it back? He asks. I have this sudden urge to wipe that smug look off his face. I scrunch up my nose. No, leave it. Just stop touching my things. You know what? I'll return another time for the measurements. How about next Friday? It's not like I can say no, so I nod my head at him. Friday is fine, I guess. Very well. I'll see you then. Good day. Neil fixes his collar and then looks at the mannequin with a nod and leaves the store. I'm never going to get rid of this guy, am I? No, not the way that it's going. Can we keep going? Yeah, we can. Hell yeah! I love this. Today, Sarah decides to come over to take some pictures with me. I use her skills as a photographer to get the best shots of my clothing line, then use them to advertise my boutique by spreading flyers. It's been working pretty well, and me and Sarah are just wrapping up another photo shoot that took place in my back room. We have a model pose for the pictures, but I put a few outfits for myself as well. It was fun. I am in love with the Canon 20D, she says as she looks through the viewfinder of her recently purchased camera. I'm sure you've been non-stop gushing about it since you got it, I reply. I know, but you don't understand how great it is. The picture quality is amazing. It's the most compact and lightweight camera in the series. I simply smile at Sarah as she goes off on all technical details about her camera. I don't really understand much of it, but I'm grateful Sarah helps me stage photo shoots to show off my clothes. Without her, I don't know if I get customers visiting the store at all. You know, looking at your pictures, you could simply be a model instead. You got the height for it and a pretty face. I smile sheepishly at Sarah. I prefer making this clothes instead of wearing it. I'm only doing this for publicity. I know. I'm not complaining though. At least you're friendly faces. Most of my customers are vain models who think they're the hottest things on earth. Divas in the making. They'll even try to get me to work for them for free for exposure, they say. Sarah shakes her head in disagreement, then goes back to looking through her camera lens. There's a creep staring at us. I blink at her. Excuse me? Sarah fixes the zoom on her lens, still looking through the viewfinder. Yeah, purple-haired dude right outside looking at you. Isn't that the same guy from the cafe? She snaps a picture. I whip my head around and look over the windows, but don't see anyone. Huh? There isn't anyone there. Are you sure you saw someone? Sarah walks up to me and shows the LCD screen of her camera. That's the last picture she took displayed on it. See? The picture quality is so great that I can see with 100% certainty that it is Neil who's standing in front of my store, shielding his eyes from the sun to get a better look. His face looking oddly weird. I'm confused why he's peeking through my window. It's not Friday yet. Isn't the same guy from the cafe? Has he been harassing you? Asks Sarah. Want me to beat him up for you? Oh, no. No need. I pause. I think. Sarah watches me carefully. A bumpkin like you won't even recognize a dangerous situation, even if it hits you in the face. We're city folk here. It's different. That's kind of mean, though. How different? Sarah shrugs her shoulders to me. Dangerous. We get creeps here. Just prowling around, looking for some pretty girl they can get their hands on. I frown at her and feel an odd chill running down my back. I'm sure that's not going to happen. NIEL doesn't seem to be like that, I think. I only feel the sting of his words sometimes. Sarah puts her fingers up to my face like a warning sign. See? The naivety. Is it naivety? Naive? It's like naivety. Not naivety. Oh, whatever. It's going to get you in trouble someday. You're naive, basically. Just be careful, okay? If something's bothering you, let me know. I smile at her and give her a light slap on her arm. You just want to be a hero for a pretty girl. Sarah grins at me. You know it. She tucks her camera inside of her bag. Anyways, I'll send you the pictures once I edit them. I'm sure they turn out quite awesomely, she says longingly. Listen on 20D, my true love. Get a room, I joke. Sarah winks at me, then says goodbye. Once she's gone, I wonder about what she said, about creeps and whatnot. Is it really that dangerous in the city? I haven't really felt uncomfortable or scared at all so far. NIEL isn't dangerous, although I do question why he was outside my store just now, as he has no reason to be there. Not until Friday anyways. Maybe he's a stalker or something. I decide to head outside of my store and have a look around, but I see no one. It's quite puzzling why NIEL was here just a moment ago. I head back inside. I've got better things to do. Time passes by as I continue tending to my store, and eventually I place the close sign at the entrance and turn off the lights. Today was an okay day for business. I hope the pictures that Sarah took will help me out and boost my sales. I'll just need to spread the flyers around myself once I got them printed. Wanting to take a well-deserved break, I head over to the cafe. The sun is setting in the background, making everything glow a nice, calming orange. As soon as I reach the cafe, I spot someone familiar in the distance. My eyes bulge out a little as I realize it's NIEL. No, wait, is Sarah right? Is he some creep stalking me? I stop walking, almost considering to turn around and walk the other way, but then someone else enters the scene. A nurse emerges from the hospital next to the cafe, running over towards NIEL, waving a clipboard at him. He turns around and addresses the nurse, and then seems to be heavily engaged in some kind of dispute. There's some heated words being thrown around. I can tell NIEL does not want to be there. Eventually, NIEL signs something on the clipboard and quickly paces away from the nurse. Of course, this also means he's sitting straight towards me. When he finally notices me, I see genuine surprise on his face, but it's immediately replaced by an angry frown. Ah, great, another incompetent person who always messes up. And I thought I was already finished with work. NIEL snaps at me. I'm taken aback by his words and sarcasm, and it's not like I warranted that kind of response by simply being near him in his presence. I haven't done anything yet. Ask him why he's being so angry. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps he was just having a bad day. I decide to ask him about the nurse. Are you angry because of something that nurse said? NIEL simply gives a loud, disgruntled huff. That's none of your business. I'm getting sick of hearing NIEL saying it's none of my business. Well, whatever happened, you didn't need to take it out on me. You can't imagine that after a long day of work trying to fix someone else's mess, and when I came across another incompetent person who's been known to make a mess before, I'm not going to be in a very jolly mood. He's acting like some kind of stampeding bull in a china store, just a walking disaster waiting to happen. He just happened to witness 2 accidents because of me. That doesn't mean I'm like this all the time. We all make mistakes, I say shyly. Your mistakes cost me 6,000 yen, he grunts. I think that's yen. Maybe not, who knows. You said you reimbursed for that, I fire back. NIEL's golden eyes narrow at me, and I can see he's trying to hold himself back from showing too much emotion. He takes in a deep breath and closes his eyes entirely. And they would very much like to know who the idiot was that broke it in the first place, so they can send you the bill instead. Now, unless you like to pay me 6,000, just say yen, bill, I suggest you hold your tongue and do as I say on Friday. I look down at the pavement, feeling angry but unable to speak up, as I know he's in the right. And I hate it. Instead of saying another word, I simply shoot him a dirty look. Have a nice day, Ms. Zibooty. He briskly walks away, and I'm left behind feeling irritated once more. What a jerk. He's kind of an asshole. And there's no way I can keep going. Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh, okay. We're gonna design some shit. Alright, I think I got enough. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I mean, like 6,000 coins. Okay, I want to get the story, man. I want to know what Neil's deal is. Neil deal. The pictures that Sarah took of me last weekend turned out pretty well. They even got a lot of traction on social media and boosted my sales somewhat. Not by a substantial amount, but enough to see a difference. Sarah has to deal with ratings, ranting about a certain jerk with no manners these couple past days. He was simply so rude to me that day, it still leaves me fuming. Of course, Sarah offered to beat him up for me again, and this time I almost took her up for the offer, but I'd rather not give him more fuel to blackmail me. Sigh. I'd do almost anything to see him get knocked down a peg or two. Also, I didn't know where Neil lived or worked for a while until Sarah reminded me of his last name, Forrester. The Forrester owns the hospital, so I guess Neil must work there if I always see him run into him into the surrounding area. Nonetheless, realizing where he works doesn't matter much to my current situation because today is Friday. Yep, Neil is supposed to be coming over for his measurements, and I'm not looking forward to this one bit. Is he going to be snappy towards me again? Insult me like last time? I really don't want to find out. The bell jingles disturbs me from my thoughts, and I look up to the entrance. It's just another customer, I sigh. I help my customer buy a dress, and once more I've left alone to the store. It was a slow day. My eyes start over towards my childhood pictures, and I recall the time where I met Neil when he was a little boy. He seemed so sweet and scared back then, nothing like what he is right now. Now he's just a spoiled rich brat who doesn't know how to exercise common decency. I huff. A feeling of dread wells up in my stomach the longer the hours tick by. It's closing time and already put up the close sign, and Neil hasn't showed up. Even if I wanted to berate him for being late, there was no way to contact him. It's not like I have his phone number. I'm not sure I even want his phone number. Of course he has the nerve to show up right as I'm closing. You're late, I say. Neil fixes the cuffs on his sleeve as he walks over to the counter, a habit he seems to keep repeating. I don't remember agreeing on an appointed time slot for today. I'm not in the mood for this, as it clearly shows on my face. Neil simply exhales loudly. Let's just get this started. I gesture towards the back where my sewing room is located. The sooner I can get this over with, the sooner I have Neil out of my hair. We both walk into this awkward silence, and once I shut the door behind me, it's just me and Neil in this tiny, cramped sewing room. Honestly, what have I gotten myself into? Neil stands in the middle, surveying everything with a critical eye, and I wish I had taken the time to clean up and organize everything before he could judge me for being messy. I walk towards my crafting table and pick up my sketchbook along with a pencil. First things first, get a design he likes. Alright, can you tell me a little bit about the kind of blazer you'd like? I say in a bored voice. Elegant, simple, streamlined, in the most expensive and durable fabric. Dark gray. In other words, perfection. Neil gives an affirmant nod. My pencil hits the sketchbook. I'm not really going to pay any mind to the most expensive fabric part, nor the perfection part, but at least I got something to work with. I quickly sketch out a regular blazer, one of the most popular patterns. Neil wiggles his fingers at me. No. Do you think I'd be okay with commonly store-bought blazers? No. Try harder. It needs more finesse. Ask him for more details. So what exactly do you have in mind? I ask in an exasperated voice. Would you like a secret pocket or something to hold all your cash? This makes me exhale air through his nose. His nose! He chuckled. I can't believe you chuckled. I think I could live without a secret pocket full of cash, but thank you for the idea. He looks amused. Well then, what is it? Would you like a different pattern? I got several to work with. I like more shape to it. So you like it to be more fitted. Alright, I can work that into the design. Newly determined, I get back to sketching out several blazer-like designs. I tried to put an elegant twist to it, hoping to satisfy his outrageous demands. When I finished a few, I show it to NIEL, turning his sketchbook up towards him. It's almost as if I'm waiting for his approval or praise, and that kind of bugs me. His golden eyes glaze over the paper, inspecting the designs. He got an interested look on his face as he leans closer over the table. If you could... NIEL then tries to go for the pencil in my hand. His finger brushes over mine and he immediately jerks back, knocking the pencil out of my hand. It lands on the floor with a dull thud. He quickly bends down to grab it without another word. I wonder what was that about. Is touching me so below him or something? I stare him down when he gets back with the pencil. He tries to pass off like nothing happened, and then makes a few adjustments on my sketchbook, albeit it in a very childish way. Do it like this? NIEL places down the pencil. There are weird doodles all over my original sketch. You're definitely the next Picasso, I say sarcastically. I wouldn't have to be if you got it right the first time, NIEL fires back, crossing his arms. Now, something like this is to my taste. I'm going to presume you don't have much high-quality fabrics laying around here, so I want to sample the fabric before you purchase it. You want me to send it over with you with priority? Yes, I'd like that. I was joking. I didn't know you could joke. NIEL and I stare at each other for a while, a tension building up between us. He's got this poker face on, and it's hard to guess what's going on in his mind. Then again, maybe it's not hard to guess. All I know is that NIEL sure likes to mock me and command me around. We'll worry about the fabric later. I'll just need to get your measurements first. This is the part I'm personally anguishing at the night about, getting up close and personal with NIEL. NIEL clasps his hands together. Very well, take my measurements. He walks into the middle of the room, expecting me to start. I take out my measuring tape and I step closer to him. His eyes are following my every move, and it's unnerving. Turn around, I say. When he actually does turn around, I'm quite surprised. I expected him to reply with some witty comeback. I shake my hand at myself and place my tape against the nape of his neck, and NIEL flinches at my touch. I frown at his back. Did I actually accidentally scratch you? I ask him, I'm sure. No, it's nothing. Continue. I pull the tape all the way down and note the measurements. Arms up, he says, taping his arms with my hand. Again, he flinches away from me, but doesn't really make a sound or say anything. It's so peculiar. Does he really not like being touched by me? Now I'm kind of interested to know. He raises his arms and stretches them out so that I can reach all the way around him and wrap the tape around his chest. I tighten it and press the palm of my hand against his back. He arches his back the more pressure I exert, almost as if I'm slightly pushing him away. So he really doesn't like to be touched. So, do you work at a hospital? I ask, trying to distract myself from the awkward silence. NIEL rolls his shoulders after I pull the tape off of him. Why would you need that information? Why would you know that information? I cleared his back while I note down the measurements again. Well, fine, don't tell me, Mr. Fancy Pants. I forcibly grab his upper arm, noticing his skin jump when I do, and spin him around so he faces me. NIEL's making his weird face, and refuses to look at me. My family owns it. That's all I'll say about the matter. So what's this blazer for anyways? Any special occasion? I ask, only slightly interested in the answer. You ask too many questions. And you don't answer enough, I say with a huff. If I know what the occasion is for, then I can create a fitting design for it. Dinner. Family dinner, he says gruffly. With your parents? Yes. Ah, so he's having a dinner with his parents, which are the Forresters, whom own the hospital. I do wonder what NIEL does at the hospital, but getting an answer out of him is like pulling teeth. I lower my body and tighten the tape around his waist. My eyes focus on the numbers. The fabric of his vest lightly brushes against my fingers, and I can feel the heat of his stomach radiating from it. I try to take his measurements of his waist, but that's when I notice how tense NIEL is. He's sucking in his stomach. Stop sucking in your stomach! I don't care if you got a bit of gut. I need your real measurements, I tell him sternly. This is not going to work out if I get the wrong numbers, that I particularly care if he wears a blazer that's too tight on him. I'm doing no such thing, NIEL denies. And my body is perfectly healthy for your information. You eating those donuts, though? I straighten him up and look at him, to which he immediately turns his head away. You're tense. Just relax. How can one relax when being prodded and poked and spun around like a ballerina? I can't help but smirk at this, feeling like I have an upper hand on him. This is making me feel gleeful. Finally, I'm putting this trick in his place. Just breathe out and let me measure your waist. NIEL takes a big breath and slowly exhales. I like the voice actor of this guy. He's really nice. I'm grinning now. This makes me want to touch him more, just to annoy him. I tighten the tape around him and take a step closer, putting myself up close and personal with him. I'm trying to avoid getting too close to NIEL this whole time, but that was before I knew how much he'd fidget if I had to be up in his face. NIEL apparently can't stand it now that I'm so close to his face, so he turns away with a cough. Are you okay? I ask him with a smirk. I'm loving this. Just fine. His voice cracks a little. Under the pretense of taking his measurements, I drag it out as much as possible, lingering with my touch, using every opportunity to bump into him by accident. It's clearly making NIEL uncomfortable as he starts to shift his weight around on the spot, unable to really take my attacks like that. I take my sweet time tormenting him, brushing my fingers over his back and his arms, his stomach, causing him to fidget nonstop. Are you sure you even went to fashion school? You should have been done by now. You're not only taking measurements of a human, not the whole wide world. NIEL voice has a slight edge on it. I give him a hard pat on his arm. Done, I say cheerfully. I didn't expect NIEL to jump away from me so fast in reaction to the pat on his arm. But I could only barely register how fast he turned over my tape, and then reached out for me to stabilize himself. Oh shit, are we gonna get a thing? Oh my god, we're gonna get a thing. His weight is too much for me to suddenly bear, and he brings the both of us down to the floor with a loud thump. Damn! Damn! Is that even... I love this. NIEL's head crashes against the mirror behind him, and I keep myself from slamming into the body by pressing my hand against the mirror as well as his chest. I look at him in surprise, and he gives me a similar look in return. It seems to be straddling his waist, and I'm way too close to his face. Luckily, I didn't fall on top of him in an embarrassing manner, and his body cushioned my fall at least. Thankfully, the mirror hasn't broken either. I can feel NIEL's heartbeat thump underneath my hand. Are you alright? I finally decide to ask. I haven't lost my manners. Peachy, says NIEL, his voice definitely cracking this time. Could you get off of me now? He turns his head away from my gaze. I don't know. I think I should just... Yeah, I'm just gonna get up, man. I remove my hand from his chest in the mirror and pick myself up, standing straight in front of him. I can see how the tape measure is awkwardly entangled with his feet. It was simply dumb luck that he managed to trip over it. I quickly remove it from his shoes so he won't trip all over himself a second time when he gets up. NIEL recovers from his mishap and stands up straight and tall. If he wasn't feeling awkward before from all of the prodding and poking, he definitely is right now. Seems I'm not the only one with 2 left feet either. I joke. NIEL huffs in response. He looks embarrassed. Let's never speak of this again. NIEL rubs his arm and glares at me. For some reason, I don't have much faith in your measurements. I could tell you had to measure some parts again. I smile at him, knowingly exactly what I went over some areas twice. We'll just have to find out now, won't we? If you got the wrong measurements, I demand you create me an entire new suit. Right, sure. Whatever you say, Your Majesty. I roll my eyes at him like I would ever make him make a suit. And don't call me that, he spits out. Oh, it seems I got under his skin. This is kind of fun, annoying him like this. Your Majesty? I say instead. NIEL angrily stomps his foot on the ground like a petulant child. Any of those are unacceptable. He then quickly composes himself. You may call me... Yeah, I'm sticking with Your Majesty, I say, quickly cutting him off. And before he can get another word in, I circle around him and start pushing him by shoving my hands against his back. I get a small rush of satisfaction. Oh, I can't read. When I feel skin twitch under my fingers. Get your hands off of me. Time to leave now. I'll let you know what fabric I've chosen, but right now it's closing time, so get out. I keep pushing him out of my room until one final shove puts him near the entrance of the store. He turns around, anger flushing in his face, and his ears are tinted with red. He wants to say something, but then immediately bites down on his lips and then opens the door to leave. "Good night!" he yells and slams the door behind me. As I stand there all alone, a grin creeps up on my face. I got under NIEL's skin. Good. He deserves it for treating me like that.